I think it's not been happening because there isn't that awareness, first of all. Number two, it's expensive.
Right.
I mean, we've got priorities coming out our ears when it comes to where do we put the money, right? I happen to be very subjective in this matter. I think it doesn't matter what other monies are needed in other places. There's nothing more important. There's nothing more important than bringing back those and helping them who we sent to die in our name. And now I know people say, well, it's not in my name. Well, I'm sorry. We elected these people who sent them over there, so it's in our name. So it's incumbent on us. It's mandatory on us. It's morally and ethically required that we take care of them. Right.
Well, it's a catch-22 situation also. If you're spending so much money to wage war, you don't have the money left over for veterans, and again, the war seems to take the precedence as to the money, and you're creating more and more difficult problems.
And homelessness is a big issue here too. 1 in 3 homeless men is a veteran.
Is a veteran,
and
yes.
We're not, and many in conservatives have claimed, well, we don't have homeless veterans living under bridges when in fact that we do. So that's another visibility issue.
Jane and I went and saw them on the beach.
We did.
Yes.
We visited the homeless in Santa Monica. You know, the Veterans Affairs is, I'm not going to say they're overwhelmed, but the infrastructure of Veterans Affairs was not in place in 2003 when all of this started. And so we are so many years behind the work that we need to do to provide the resources. One of the theories behind the killings at Fort Hood, and one of the reasons supposedly that that psychiatrist was kept on, was because they were so short of qualified therapists to treat the veterans, both leaving for multiple deployments as well as coming back. We have talked to vets whose complaint has been, well, they just push pills at me and then I have to wait 6 months for my meeting with the psychiatrist. And I believe everything I've heard is that the treatment is very, very good. There just aren't enough resources and there's not enough money going to Veterans Affairs.
I'm sorry.
Well, I was going to say, we're talking about an estimated 131,000 homeless veterans in the United States. We have an estimated 20,000 homeless veterans right here in Los Angeles. We have buildings sitting down in West LA on the VA property that are not being used for anything. But there again, it goes back to funding to fix those buildings up and actually give those veterans a place to stay. That's one of the things that we need to do.
Let me relate to you a personal experience I had. I'm a pre-Vietnam vet. I served in the Air Force from '59 to '64. And about maybe 4 or 5 months ago, I wanted to see if I could get maybe some assistance with some medical or some prescription help. So I decided to go to the VA to see if I could apply for that. It was such an eye-opener. First of all, I walked onto the grounds. There's no sign about telling you where you should be going or where the main office is or how to register. I finally, after talking to about 3 or 4 people, found the place I'm supposed to go, waited in line for what seemed to be about an hour because everyone was out to lunch and no one could help me. There were people there from all walks of life and all conflicts waiting to be served. I finally got up to the desk. I presented my discharge papers and they asked for my VA card. I have no idea what a VA card is. They sent me someplace else. I couldn't find where that was supposed to be. This goes on and on and on. Right. The point is that why should a vet have to apply for everything they want? Why should they have to apply for medical treatment? Why should they have to apply for educational benefits? Why should they have to apply blah blah over and over and over again? Why isn't there a system that says when you leave the military, you're automatically databased in our system so that no matter where you go, no matter what you want, you're recognized as a veteran and the information about you is resident there, so they can treat you or serve you immediately.
If we care about our vets, if we care what happens to them, that's exactly what we will do. We will make available to every veteran the necessary psychological treatment, the necessary medical treatment, if we care. And that's my challenge to those who say that they care about the veterans, you know, support the troops. If you care, make sure it happens.
Right. And to be fair, polls show that most veterans are content with the VA service, and certainly if they were shifted onto private care, it'd be unaffordable. But what can we do besides just increasing the funding? What can we do to make the VA more accountable and answerable to veterans?
Well, going back to what I was saying originally, a vet should automatically be enrolled in anything that they need, automatically, when they are discharged. That's the first step. Secondly, the systems that exist, the infrastructure in VA, the bureaucracy is so complicated that most vets, well, there's an article in the LA Times that I cut out, vets sue VA over slow care. There is about close to 1 million untreated vets who have applied for benefits.
There's a backlog of 1 million cases with a wait time of 179 days.
Got it.
And that's why the suicide rates are so high. It's why they give up and they walk away.
Suicide rate now is greater than it's ever been in military history. It's close to 20 per day on the average. And that's a conservative estimate from everything we've heard.
Well, the other thing too is that vets, if you go to the VA and you fill out a form improperly, you're not only just starting the system all over again, you have to fight to get your claim. If it gets denied, you have to fight to get that claim reapplied again. So what you have to do then as a veteran is go to a vet center or the DAV and have them help you fill out a claim, and that shouldn't have to happen.
There are so many obstacles placed before our vets. It almost feels like the desire is to have them not apply for benefits.
Well, you almost suspect that the military doesn't want vets to come home. It's almost like you begin to believe that the idea is, well, when you go over there, you stay there.
Yeah, with multiple deployments and dismal treatment when they come back, and the dismal conditions that were in place, at least early on, one does begin to wonder the level of care that the military does actually have for its men and women.
Has the Obama administration and the new Secretary of Defense made, and the new Eric Shinseki, the new VA administration, have they made any improvements in these areas?
They're talking about improvements. Obama signed last month to speed up the process by 1 year of funding for the VA. And Shinseki has also promised to help homeless veterans as well as working better with the VA too.
Have they taken any action yet, or is it all?
There's been some action taken. Shinseki is trying to change things, but be aware that these problems cannot be solved in a short period of time. This is going to take years to improve. Meanwhile, in my opinion, and one of the reasons why the Evan Ashcraft Foundation has funded private organizations to do this is because for the short to medium term, I'm talking for the next 1 to 5, if not 10 years on the outside, these kinds of services have to be provided by private concerns, by private providers. Otherwise, there'll be continued delays, there'll be continued suicides, there'll be continued hopelessness.
Now, when you say private providers, you mean nonprofit organizations and the like? Right.
Yes, indeed.
Yes.
Non-governmental organizations.
Exactly.
Like the Soldiers Project is one of the...
So tell me a little bit about each of your respective organizations. Steve, you're with Vietnam Vets Against the War. How is that helping with this situation?
We have our own, through our national office, we have our own military counselor. and he helps veterans. He helps people that suffer from PTSD. He hooks them up. Also, they interconnect with the Soldiers Project out of Chicago too. Actually, Soldiers Project started here in LA, but they have a branch in Chicago,
right,
and they're working together. So it's a network system, and they work with Veterans for Peace. So these are by networking together, and is how that we're able to get greater help, spread the word to veterans to help them out.
Okay.